Right. Are we all here? Can you hear me? Can you hear Natalie? And can you hear the game?
I made the mistake last night where I forgot to turn my microphone on right at the start.
I've never done that. In fact, I can say absolutely with clarity, I have never done 10 minutes of a stream with it sat on the waiting page. And people can hear me talking, and they're all sitting there going, "Matt, screen, Matt." That has never happened at all ever.
That's hilarious.
Oh dear. Hello everybody. Oh, my microphone's really loud apparently. I can imagine it is. How's that? Am I better now?
Are you shouting at everyone?
Am I shouting? I'm always shouting at everybody. I'm so excited. Excitable something. Right. Anyway.
But yes, good evening everyone. Happy Pancake Day. Happy Pancake Day to those of you who have been eating pancakes. I think it's a UK thing, but
you know what?
What have you done?
This has been working. I've been playing this all afternoon.
Are you having
and now it's being
difficulties?
a pain. Okay. Okay, right, let's... so we're going to start with the 395. So what happened with the game today? Natalie, what was awesome today?
Well, Welsh Gaz has just said, Nat, is there any more news on the Southeastern High Speed patch? Funny you should ask.
Wow.
It's today we sent out the massive patch that we've been talking about for Southeastern. It's fixed a lot of things that we said we were going to fix. So I hope everybody's pleased with it. It was quite a good list, wasn't it, Matt?
I'm quite pleased with the what was actually in the patch in the end. It was there's quite a lot of stuff in there. So we're going to try and take you through some of it in the stream. First thing you can hear is the fan has been beefed up in the cab now, so I'm hoping you can hear that. If you can't, then that's going to be a problem. But let me just get powered up. But yeah, we'll take you through some of the stuff that came in the patch, and the rest of it you can explore for yourself. Tonight we're going to do a bit with the 395, and we're going to do a bit with the Class 66, because this patch also brought new services for freight lovers. So if what you wanted was a bit of Class 66 fun, then you got it.
The other thing people should be aware of is that Matt is using an Xbox tonight, so we get asked quite a lot because we show things off on console, so Matt is using an Xbox tonight. What kind of Xbox are you using, Matt?
This is an Xbox One X dev kit, but for the purposes of what I'm doing here, it runs like a One X. And One X, no, not Series X, One X. It's running a release build, so this is pretty much as close as you can get to the real thing.
So Tube Fan has just mentioned something that made me giggle when I read it as well. Talk about the towels given to the passengers.
So there was a problem with the... So lighting is all faked. In games, lighting is faked, because doing it in real time, for real, is where things like RTX and ray tracing come in. So lighting is all faked, and there's a number of techniques, and one of those is cube map. And what I gather is that the light map, cube map, nonsense, I'm pretending like I vaguely understand this, but I'm stretching, was wrong, and it basically made all of the materials, all of the skin materials, show with a 100% shiny. So they looked like they were wet. So when you looked at all of the people, all of their skin looked wet, and it looked daft. And we eventually traced it down to this light map thing that was wrong, and that seems to have fixed it. And the passengers now have the right amount of light and dark, of wet and dry. So yes.
So yes, we haven't actually given them real towels, but we have made sure they don't look like they're wet anymore. And for those of you asking where Sam is, he's a little bit under the weather, so I'm stepping in so we can have a night off, and we'll be feeling better for the rest of the streams this week. Is he streaming the rest of the week? I don't know.
I can't remember.
Neither can I, off the top of my head. Do we have a train bird? Did you get a train bird?
Oh, I don't know. I didn't.
Oh.
And the one behind me isn't either, by the looks of it.
Okay. Keep an eye out for those train birds.
So one thing you'll notice at the cab is as we start moving, you can hear the wheel squeals. You couldn't hear them properly before. and in cab ride videos that we listen to, you could. So they've been dialed up. Things like the beepers from the doors have been dialed down. The control volumes, like clunks and things, have been dialed down. The depot whistle's been dialed down. That was a lot louder actually than it was before. Sorry, it's a lot quieter now than it used to be. And there's now running noise added to it. Now at the moment the fan noise kind of overpowers it. It is quite loud. All the cab ride videos we looked at, this fan noise was one of the most predominant things you could hear, other than the wheel squealing, until you get to higher speeds, when you start to hear little rattles coming from the cab or wind noise. So as we speed up, which is the reason I'm starting from St Pancras, other than it's what I always do, but you'll hear that as we speed up into the tunnel, you'll hear more of those sounds coming in.
So Brian said we realised the door alarms were too loud, basically.
Yeah, the door alarms were too loud. They were ear-piercing loud. You should hear them, but they shouldn't be, in like your ear is right next to them.
Yeah, like uncomfortable kind of loud.
Yeah.
I've seen some people asking about when the 465 is being released. We are not going to tell you that on this stream. So, sorry, you're going to have to wait a little bit longer before you find out when we're releasing that. Black Wolf said, the battle sounds the same as on Peninsula Corridor, not a problem, apparently they just sound similar.
I think they probably were inherited from those sounds, yeah. There's quite a lot of, little detail sounds moved around between packages.
Yeah.
It's more a case that listening to the cab rides of the train and trying to work out what's missing versus what should be there, rather than just trying to guess what should be there, and then trying to work at what we had in the library, that we could pull those things in.
Yeah. Tubefan says, I reported an AWS issue on release day, but it wasn't fixed. It was in the Strood Tunnel. If there was anything that wasn't fixed today, are we going to be doing more updates after today's to try and address some more?
Quite possibly. I don't know what the plan is for that. I think there's some more updates coming as part of the 465 release. I need to go and have a look at that specific one to see if that's there. How's the volume, folks? Can you hear me and Natalie okay with the game sounds? It's deafening me, but that might just be my headphones too loud. And I can't find the volume adjustments, otherwise I would.
I think your screen just froze briefly.
It did briefly, yeah, I don't know why.
Yeah.
Has the lighting been fixed in the tunnels, laser jet? So the answer to that is 50% yes. East of Ebbsfleet, so for example, Strood Tunnel was one particularly bad example. What is going on here?
Oh. Is your Xbox shouting at you?
It is complaining I'm logged in. What I wonder is if somebody else is doing testing tonight. Happens to have the same profile.
That wouldn't surprise me.
Alright, let me slow down.
So is it harder or easier or the same to drive on a console? What would you say?
No, I mean, I'm just using the controller as normal. So if you use a controller on the PC, it's identical. And a train like this is really, really easy to drive because I'm just using two buttons. Oh, this is going to get annoying. Yes, pink controller.
Give us just a moment. The Xbox isn't playing very nice tonight.
It was playing nice all afternoon. What's going on?
Well, naturally, that's how it works, isn't it? It would behave all night until you actually wanted to use it.
Yeah.
Is the route getting extended when the 465 gets released? It's not, is it?
No.
No, didn't think so.
Right, here we go. joys of... Oh. What the heck? I've never seen this before in my life.
This is okay.
Yes, hi demo, go on with it.
Goodness me.
Oh.
The only thing is, it could be like you said, if somebody else is using it, they might be doing the same thing you're doing every few moments.
So I've accidentally put it into emergency brake because I had the wrong buttons, and now that we're down below 30 kilometers an hour, it will also release the brake so I can now put the power back on again. Oh dear. No, the problem is I'm using a dev account, and that's why. I don't know why it keeps kicking it out, but apparently it does.
After it's been behaving as well.
It's been
so
really
good.
Annoying.
Yeah.
I installed this at lunchtime and thought I'll just spend the afternoon playing it just to make sure that nothing bad happens on the stream. Apparently that was a worthwhile exercise. Looks like someone else trying to use the same profile. Well, they shouldn't be, because there's a spreadsheet which lists all the profiles and what consoles they belong on. So. Matt, don't do a Natalie again like the last stream. Nah, I don't do that.
Matt, I don't suppose you have any idea who could be using the account?
I don't know, no. It's not like they've got easily, obviously typable names either. They're like DTG and a random number. Right, here we are, coming in.
Yeah, listen, Matt, don't spad. Whatever you do, don't spad.
No, I've never spadded. What are you talking about? I never spadded.
Lying.
What?
Someone said Sam's using it. That's quite funny.
Sam using an Xbox. Now that would be an interesting sight. Don't think he uses consoles.
I'm sure. I think he's a PlayStation man.
Really?
Yeah.
You can't see the M25 Dartford crossing. Not from here, you won't. In reality, you can. I'll show you it when we get there. Clear as day.
Wonky Sausage has asked a question. Great name. Are you guys happy with the 395's acceleration in DC/third rail mode? Because it's a real struggle to keep time because it seems a bit underpowered. Would you say it's underpowered?
It's not far off. However, the problem is that the timings, because of a limitation in the way that we handle, so all the timings are calculated automatically, and what we realised way too late on is that this is the first time we've done a train that's got two radically different characteristics of its performance. And it turns out we can only do side time simulations and timings on one. So all of the calculations are done based on a kind of an approximation of the two together, which means that it's slightly, it will appear as if it's underpowered on the DC sections. So it's something that the team are aware of, and we're trying to work out the best way of fixing that as a general thing going forwards as much as anything.
Treepag has asked, is the gauge light fixed? It is, isn't it? You can see it now.
You should be able to see it when we get in the tunnel,
Yep.
In fact, you should see it now. Only me, I hope you appreciated me having a Nat add pink to our wagon yesterday, totally.
There you go.
She showed me earlier on, I think it was brilliant. Perfect. The pink finishes the wagon, to be honest.
It does. It didn't look that epic until we added the pink, and then such a good suggestion.
Well, Xbox F-Door. So personally, I've got a Series X, but this one is an Xbox One X developer kit.
Merton said, not Merton, sorry. What's that? Somebody asked a question and it's just disappeared. It was about, oh, there we go. Can you see the needles on the gauge, or is it just dark in the stream?
No, you can't see the needles on the gauge. That's something that needs to be looked at. The needles don't seem to be lighting up.
Wiper sounds. Now they're definitely improved. I've seen members of the community mentioning that they're much better.
When we get out of the tunnel and I can see what I'm doing, I'll turn the wipers on. Right now, I couldn't actually firmly tell you where the wiper switch is, so...
Just randomly push buttons in the cab until you get the right one.
Yeah.
Has the destination font on 377 and 375 been fixed, or is that still yet to be done?
Sorry?
The font.
On the 375, just the same as it was before.
Okay. Matt should have used a PS5 tonight, man. I would love a PS5.
I don't have a PS5, like so many people.
But would you buy a PS5, or would you be
At some point,
Xbox
I will
fan?
definitely buy a PS5 at some point. But I know I'm an Xbox. I've always been an Xbox fan.
Are you gonna buy both?
I will, yeah. Because actually, I had the Xbox One and the PS4, and the PS4 I found to be a really, really good console. So I have gained a lot of respect for the platform. Whereas previously, I would never have even looked at it for no reason other than that, you know, you're going to buy a games console, I buy two. Whereas now, actually, I see the benefit. They're both good machines. So it's yeah. But no, I got a Series X because it was the first one I was able to get hold of. If the PS5 had been the first one, then I would have got PS5.
Do we not have a PlayStation 5 in DTG?
I think that I can't remember what there is in the way of next-gen consoles at the moment. Suffice to say that dev kits are hard to come by at the minute, and I suspect that there are one or two. But when you say at DTG, you have to remember that there isn't the office these days. Everybody's working at home, so
yeah. Unfortunately, we can't all share one.
You got 3 PS5s on release day. Oh, it's you, is it?
Welsh guys are saying, Matt, would you be able to do a stream one time on the Series X?
Yeah, I can do.
Yeah, that'd be good.
It's all installed on there because I've been playing it. Indeed, Keith. Soon, yeah. Both consoles have their strong points and their let's call them less strong points. It's yeah, they're both good machines.
George is asking me if I'm ready for Friday's challenge. The short answer is no. But Jamie's
set a new winning target, hasn't he?
I know, but first of all, I'm glad Sam has won. Like, just because it would have been embarrassing if he won 3 times in a row. But I've been like trying to learn PZB, and I've actually been watching a tutorial on signals and PZB, and I'm currently trying to learn signals before I learn PZB.
Yes,
so
always learn the signals first. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's where I'm at. Tomorrow I'm going to give it a first shot with the PZB. I expect to get very, very, very angry with it. And then when I get too angry, I'll come back another day. And then on Friday, hopefully, I'll be good enough that I can at least not get stuck in the middle of the traffic for an hour.
There you go, wipers with sounds.
Richard Lansky, can you sort out the catenary? Let's just scroll. Oh, can you sort out the catenary on this route? HS1 doesn't share gantries with the domestic network.
It doesn't, but that's not likely to get fixed at this point.
Fair enough. Just mash buttons after every signal and you've mastered PZB.
I always liked actually the way that Dimitri summed it up the best way. If there's any yellow, it needs acknowledging.
Okay.
It's actually it's almost spot on. If there's any yellow, press the acknowledge button.
I mean, you said in your tutorial that you don't get penalised if you push it when you don't need to,
exactly.
So it's better to
push it as much as you like. Yeah.
Yeah, so that's probably what I'm going to do. I'm more likely to over push it than under push it. Is the plan.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right, so 4.6 miles, well, we're coming up to Dartford soon.
Laser just said Matt font size is much bigger.
The font is much bigger as this one.
Easy does it.
It's double the size.
Nice.
Right, that's the Dartford crossing there. The M25, we just went under it. That was the QE2 bridge.
I went over the Dartford. Which bridge is it?
Sorry?
Which bridge is that?
QE2.
Yeah, I went over that not that long.
Yeah, it's the M25.
If in doubt, hold page down as you pass any signal that isn't green. Yep, that's what I'm going to be doing.
Yeah, 282, yeah, fair enough. If you want to get technical, most people call it the M25 though.
Can you open the doors from the external cam still? I don't know if it's been patched.
No idea. I don't know. I don't think that's been changed.
No, I saw someone saying that you can drive off while they're still open, but once you start driving, they close.
Okay.
I believe that's how it works at the moment, but I'm not going to confirm that.
Right, we're down to 130. Coming out at home, Ebbsfleet. We'll do the power change over in a minute. Just going to drop the power speed a bit more.
ET said, sorry, ET, phone home. ET said, have you got plans to add train platform announcements, Matt? By the way, you're amazing.
Well, thank you. There are plans to do that at some point, but it's not made it onto a roadmap yet, so don't take those as being too set in concrete. But the whole way we've been building the PIS system, in terms of providing the data for the platforms and so forth, has been with a view to ultimately then putting audio in there and all sorts of things. So we're trying to build, that is our ultimate goal, but I don't know when we'll get there yet.
And then we're being asked, would PIS be added to trains in the preserve collection? I imagine once that's all up and running, that is something that could eventually be added to the preserve collection, right?
It's something that's on Adam's list to look at, in amongst a million other things that are on Adam's list to look at. So,
I know.
It's
a very large list.
It is. So at the moment, I think his team is focusing on getting PIS on boards onto the routes, onto some routes at least. Whether when and whether that will then reflect to the boards on the trains, I don't know the answer to that. So that's a question for Adam on a roadmap stream. He can tell you, try and give you a clue into some of his plans there. But yeah, at the moment, it's Lear and East Coastway, I think, where he's working at the minute.
And there was someone asking how much does the community feedback and stuff influence what the preservation crew work on next, and it does have a big impact on the decision making.
Oh, Adam pays a lot of attention to what's going on. There's a wide range of sources that Adam pays attention to when he's looking for what to work on next. And some of that's just going to be down to we're modifying 3 other things. So the power change is done. So we're modifying 3 other things on the route. What else can we do at the same time? So we'll go hunting for what sort of feedback there is, what tickets we already have for it, what do we already know about the route, and we'll obviously go out to our beta team and ask them for extra feedback as well, and see what there is. Now that doesn't mean we hoover up everything we can possibly do, because we still have to be able to get it into a testing schedule and so forth, but that's kind of like the priority there, I think. But like I said, Adam is definitely the best person to tell you about how he figures his priorities out. Suffice to say, there's a lot goes into it. No, you don't need to set the reverser into neutral before switching modes. There's one case where in reality you do, but most cases you don't. It used to be the case, but they don't need to do that anymore. So we took it out.
I saw someone asking, is the patch out yet? Yes, the patch is out on all platforms, so you should all be able to get the update.
A good test to see if you've got the patch, because I've seen some people on various Facebook groups and things that have been saying that they've got the right build number, which is build 89 in the version in the settings, but they're not seeing the extra class 66 services, and other changes aren't there. and they fixed it by rebooting the machine and Steam and
Yes.
things like that. You know, that kind of nonsense. Because what it sounds like is a Steam for some reason hasn't updated the actual London Faversham file. So
Yeah.
either check to make sure you've got build 89, but then also see if you've got 8 Class 66 services.
Yeah.
If you have,
And
then you've got the version. If you don't, you need to do stuff.
And Matt is definitely right that it sounds so obvious, but turning it on and off again works.
In the case of Steam, actually, yeah.
In the case of Steam, yeah, definitely. Let's see.
The Rainbow Roads, yeah, okay. Rainbow Roads, I've never heard them being called that. I like that. Oh dear, where is that one? I want the objective mark. It's a stop marker, if I remember rightly.
I've got 2 questions here regarding Ebbsfleet. I'm going to ask them both at the same time because I imagine they have a similar answer. But one of them is why can't we use lower platforms at Ebbsfleet, and then the other one is still no access to lower platforms at Ebbsfleet.
Yep.
So can you just explain a little bit about that?
Yeah, so the team have to define the cut-off boundaries for their work, and in order to allow them to focus more time on other parts of the route. One of the areas they like, for example, Northfleet isn't modelled either, and she's just literally, we just went past it. It was just behind us on the main line, the other line, and it's a station. Certainly at the moment, is actually quite a time-consuming thing to set up. Not just the art, because then they need to actually make it work from a passenger perspective and make sure that it's modelled okay, make sure that all the areas that the player can walk around in are. It's a surprising amount of time spent making a passenger work, and that is something the team actually are trying to work on. How can we get that number down? Because it's too high at the moment. So the engineering team and the art team are trying to work out how can we make stations less painful to put in the game. Because we've got all the passengers and you can walk around in first person, there's an awful lot more to model now than you would have to have done previously, and some of that stuff is taking too much longer, so we're trying to work that out. But at the moment, that's why Ebbsfleet lower, because it wasn't part of the original spec for the route, because the spec for the route was London to Faversham.
Yeah.
But we wanted to put the lower platforms in, same as we wanted to put Northfleet in, but both of them had to come out to allow the time for the rest of the route to be done.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense.
Oops, forgot to slow down.
Are you having to emergency stop?
I'm not having to emergency stop, no. Actually, I should do an emergency stop at some point, because I've seen a lot of people saying that they get stuck with emergency stop and they don't know how to fix it. So at some point,
show them how
I'm
to
going
fix
to,
it.
when the next time I get an alarm, I have to try and stop my instinct to deal with the alarm, and I will do an emergency stop. I'll show you what to do, because it's really easy. But we never told you in the tutorials. How bad?
I think what you're doing is telling them that you're going to show them how to do an emergency stop, so that
It
next
covers
time you
me
get
for
it
the
wrong.
next time. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So you go like, oh, this was completely intentional.
See? now argue with me and tell me I'll be wrong.
I've seen someone asking, can we get a more comprehensive tutorial?
We're always trying to look for ways we can get more comprehensive tutorials, and some of the stuff like you've got the power changeover tutorial and so forth in here. We want to do more. Where we want to get to is things like signalling and all sorts of other things, but they're actually really complicated to try and condense into a simple enough tutorial. So you've seen some of the videos that have been coming out from the creative teams, publishing team recently, with sort of like the how-to guides on the various locos, and I think there's a bunch more of those scheduled to come out. And I think that's probably a really good place for something like a condensed signalling tutorial to go, and then ideally we just put that in the game so that you get that as part of what you see in the game. But there were some kind of like, this is merging multiple future plans into something which definitely hasn't become a reality yet. But videos are a much better way to try and explain signalling than playing it, and then you have to keep restarting all over the time to try and get it right, or wait 10 minutes for the next signal, by which time you've forgotten what you're supposed to have done. It's because you don't get long to react to these things, so it's like you get an alarm that comes up, and 3 seconds later the alarm is putting the brakes on, and you're thinking, well, I didn't have time to even think about that. So it's trying to explain that a bit better. But we're aware that that's what people would like. So actually, there's just your request for the motors. So let me just put myself next to the motors here. Oh.
Oh god, the timing is impeccable.
I got excited and broke the speed limit.
So I saw Ethel say the tutorials often state the obvious. And that's interesting because I imagine you've been playing the game for a while and it probably does feel like it's obvious to you. But for a complete novice and somebody who has no idea how to get a train started but is a huge train enthusiast, it can be quite daunting when you first sit down. And I know I struggled with it. I was like, how do I turn this on? So that is often why the tutorials might feel a bit obvious, but it's to help complete beginners actually get moving.
Yeah, absolutely. It's definitely it's trying to strike a balance so that you've got quite a lot to cover. What you don't want to do is have like a 25-minute detailed tutorial, and then you're thinking yourself later on, remember how do I do the power change over again? Oh, I've got to replay that 25-minute tutorial for the 32 seconds that told me what I needed to know. So it's trying to sort of not put too much in, but make sure it covers and tries to help most people. And what we find, I'm going to talk to Jordan tomorrow, I'll find out why it does this. What we find is that I've forgotten what I was saying. It disrupted my thought process that much. Is that people who know the basics can generally figure out the rest themselves, but the people who don't know anything and need the most help. And so that's kind of where the tutorials always start from background basics and then build up and try and sort of show you what's new and unique. So power changeovers, for example, and making sure that that's covered. But there is always, like, for example, the emergency brake stuff should have been covered in this tutorial, to be honest.
Enzo is asking, can you explain the arm up, arm down controls, please?
What was it?
Can you explain the arm up, arm down controls, please? I imagine that's when you change the pantograph, isn't it? Pantograph? No, pantograph. Yeah, pantograph. It's the power setting, isn't it?
Sorry, I can't remember. I can't change the what of the controls.
Isn't the arm up, arm down when you change the power setting?
This thing over here. I don't think this actually does anything in the game. In reality, what that does is when they go into, if they say, for example, the train powered down in TVM territory, what they would do is when they powered it up, it would be in default mode. And let's say they knew that, and they were cleared by the central control they can be on showing 200, for example. They can just use the arm up button to turn it up to faster speeds. That's what I understand. So that doesn't do anything in the game, but the buttons are clickable, so you can enjoy pressing them, but they're not actually activated. So we're actually coming up on Who Junction now, and Who Junction's seen some changes in the patch. So whereas previously there were some static consists in here, there are now not any static consists. Everything in here is now done with a train or service that you can play yourself. These 266s, the wagons over here on the left now get used in a service. So there are now 8 services using the Class 66, which cover a reasonable variety. We're going to do one of them in a bit. So there's actually quite a lot to do, and at certain times, in fact in the 66 scenario we come in later on, we come in and this yard is full. There's a bit of shunting, there's a bit of normal running. It's hopefully a nice variety for those that want to do freight. What is happening to the Xbox? I don't know what's wrong with this transportation. It looks for a world like someone's trying to use my login tonight.
And I suspect that's what it is. So every time you log back in, I think you're probably logging them out and vice versa. Yeah.
Well, I'm using the same account I've always used for years, so...
Yeah.
Survive.
Monty Burns said, it took me 4 attempts to learn the power change at Ebbsfleet. Now I do it straight away.
Yeah,
Well done you for sticking with it.
Yeah, well done. What you find is that once you figure out these things, you're like, how did I ever stuck with this before?
Yeah.
It's like anything. Once you learn it, it becomes really clear. No, my controller's not on USB. It's not disconnecting. Power stays on. It's the account is literally getting kicked out, I think. Either that or Microsoft's back end is doing some fun stuff tonight.
That wouldn't surprise me either.
Yeah, 2 buttons, that's it. When you're in the tunnels between St Pancras and Ebbsfleet, why is the speed on the HUD 230 km per hour when it's 225 km per hour on the dashboard? An excellent question, Harrison. I've seen reported several times, and I'll tell you the. Oh, I shouldn't have answered that, should I? Nope. Excellent question. So, there's more than just the Eurostar. Sorry, this train that runs on the high speed section. The Eurostar does as well, and the Eurostar can run at 230. This train can only run at 225. Therefore, the track is capable of 230 for the Eurostar to go that fast. But the TVM will limit you to 225 because that's all you should be doing. That's the reason for the difference, is because the line is technically 230 kph. Yes, I was supposed to ignore it. But let's tell you what, next time it comes up, let's make sure it doesn't in a tunnel, because that's just going to make life awkward.
Just a heads up, everyone, if we don't answer your question out on stream, it's often because the chat scrolls quite quickly. So we won't be ignoring your questions intentionally or anything like that. It's just sometimes we do miss them. So you can ask them again if we haven't acknowledged it.
I didn't fail to acknowledge those because we're in a tunnel, and I think watching me fight in the dark to switch dark switches would be ineffective as a tutorial, even though it might be amusing. AWS is on, yeah, you just heard it, but it did AWS as a warning for the 15 earlier on.
Oh, that's quite funny. OG said, every time you get an alarm going off, it's making me jump for the Q button on the keyboard.
That's always good fun.
It's like when you're a passenger in the car, isn't it? And you want to brake, and you try to brake, and you're like, oh gosh, I have no pedals.
I've had that when I've streamed before, and I've had the other way around where someone has not pressed the Q on their own alarm because they thought it was on the stream, and then wonder why their train came to a halt.
That's brilliant. Oh gosh. Are the 395's AI sounds fixed, and do the double 395's now have fixed sounds?
It's not something I've listened to myself. I know the audio team have spent a fair bit of time on it, so tell me if you think it's better, and if not, we'll pass the feedback on.
Yeah. There's a few people asking for the cab light.
That's because I was in the tunnel, but I'm not in the tunnel anymore, so. Do you like one of 12 toys? Is it this the one I always do? Yeah, I do quite like it, because I like something around 8 AM. So I naturally gravitate towards that, because if you're going to see a bit more AI, in rush hour is when you're going to see it, isn't it? But I don't actually intentionally do the same service every time, but honestly, it's...
I wonder if we all like subconsciously choose our favourites without realising as well, because I think I probably go more towards like a late evening thing, because I like sunsets.
Yeah. X Black Wolf says all sounds are fixed. They sound fine now. No more UFO trains. Well, there you go.
UFO trains is a great way of explaining it.
Can you explain the freight services coming to this route? Yes, I'll do it when we get in. When we've done this, I'll just walk you through what the freight services do, what the patterns are for, and so on, how they're set up. Does the submarine have sounds now? No, it doesn't. Major fail. I'm sorry.
No, how disappointing.
You know, they'd only be copies. So.
Sydney Light Rail fan said it's 8 AM for them. Is that because you're in Sydney?
They'd only be rusting sounds, yeah.
Tintin says, as I leave this station, I always pass another service on the bend. Every time. I wonder if we will.
Right, let's make our way to Rochester.
No trainbow. Oh. I do quite like that it's random.
I do as well, and I've seen a lot of people trying to sort of discuss strategies with other people to sort of how do I see it? What's the most likely chance of seeing it? And it's got such a vibe of the sorts of discussions real train spotters have when they're trying to, where am I going to see such and such a train? And trying to work out, on this route, where is the station you're most likely to see it? And then someone coming back saying, I just spent 25 minutes on Stratford Station and I saw it! That's a really cool moment.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I think it's possibly the first time we've actually captured that kind of that cool moment in doing that. So that's quite unintentional, to be honest. So yeah. It's really interesting.
Is it something you'd consider doing again for perhaps other liveries?
I love that idea, personally.
Yeah. Well, it would be good, wouldn't it? Oh, it'd be good if you could have like a virtual train spotting book. So you can put in where you saw it and when you saw it.
You're telling them all of my written down ideas.
Oh, was that your idea? I thought that was my idea. I was like, that's a great idea. Great mind.
No, that was the whole train spotter thing was something that I always wanted to do on this, so that you could actually note down the numbers that you'd seen and collect them.
It'd be cool though, wouldn't it? And then you could compare with other people, like, ooh, I found it here, and see how you get on. And might also ask if I've given this route a try. So I did on launch day, and I did not overshoot the station and have to reverse back.
She did. It's fine, because I totally didn't spad.
I mean, there was a moment when I was reversing and I was like, I'm going to spad, it's not going to let me do it, I'm going to spad, and somehow I've miraculously got away with it.
Alright, it's coming into Rochester.
Let's see. I saw a question and it's just disappeared. Oh, there we go. Matt, will we be able to take screenshots from the driver's seat using the DTG screenshot feature?
I don't think we can at the moment, no, because of the way that... Because the problem is when you sat in the cab, you're pretty much using all of the buttons. Whereas at least when you're outside the train looking in, you can kind of see the... we've got extra buttons that we can play with, which is how we now make that work. Yep. So yeah, we thought probably most people would prefer to be taking screenshots externally rather than internally, but it's something we can look into potentially. Yeah. I'm not sure how, because the controller is this wonderful thing where it's got very little in the way of buttons on it, so sort of, up, up, down, down, left, right to cause a screenshot to happen.
Have you added Gravesend to the PIS on the class 375?
So that all the PISs on the 375 were added, so it's now got all the missing ones like Dartford, Rainham, Charing Cross, all that's Charing X, because of what they say on the front of the trains. So they should all the trains should now have their destinations showing up correctly.
Oh, there's a few people asking about the donkey.
Yes.
Everybody's asking where it is.
I don't know if we want to tell people where it is, though.
Okay, so are they trying to get a cheat? You guys trying to cheat with finding the donkey?
I mean, the donkey isn't a sort of an official bit of gameplay, but it's kind of like it's added by the environment team because they're almost their signature, and they've done such a good job with the donkey this time. They have. It's if you know the area, as I've said on many occasions, if you know the area, when you see the donkey, you go, yes.
Yeah, that's it. We're not telling them where the donkey is. You guys got to find the donkey yourself, and then you'll really be happy when you find it. No cheating. Nice try. They almost had it then.
Have you seen the donkey?
I didn't even know there was a donkey.
You didn't even know there was a donkey?
So I guess I need to find the donkey. What is so good about the donkey? The fact that you can't find it.
The fact that it's there.
Yeah.
It's just a thing. You are free to totally ignore the donkey. '66 doesn't come with Southeastern, David. But I know the '66 is is part of the East Coastway DLC. So if you have East Coastway, that adds the extra layer which enables the '66, and if you've got Northern Trans Pennine, that adds the layer which gives you the rail tour services.
Is 66 the one that looks like a shed?
It's the one that's exactly nicknamed the Shed.
Yeah. Jamie taught me how to drive that one.
It's good fun.
Yeah. We had some time left at the end of the stream, and he was like, "Why don't you try the 66?" He was like, "I'll teach you how to do it." And then like we were slightly time delayed. He was giving me instructions with how
That's
to
always
get it
fun.
started.
Where can you go for all the tutorial videos? They'll be on our YouTube channel, Grant Lloyd. If you look up Train Simulator on YouTube.
And most of them have a forum link as well. So if you go into, I believe it's the article discussion, you'll see the titles there. They'll say that where the tutorials are. You just might have to scroll a bit.
Yeah.
Or you could look up the word tutorial in the search bar in the forums.
Is 59 known as a small shed? I can't remember what the 59's nickname is actually.
Can we get a tutorial on using multiple locos on Sandpatch grade? We'll put it on the list.
Yep, definitely. Yeah, much like a tutorial for braking needs to is one of the ones we want to do. A multiple unit consisting tutorial for German trains, American trains, and so forth, because a lot of the principles are the same. Would be great, I think.
Yeah, we definitely want your feedback as well. Like, what do you guys want? What do you think would be really helpful for you? Because at some point, I'm sure we will run out of ideas, won't we, Matt?
Exactly. Right, 1.4 miles. I'm just going to put it on notch 2 to allow the thing time to time out. So hopefully the alarm will go off after this tunnel.
If you do make a next generation version, would it have vibration support, and would you utilize the PS5 adaptive triggers? I mean,
Who knows?
that's a lot of speculation in that post.
An awful lot of speculation. Would like to totally, but there's a world apart from would like to will. So
yeah.
Let's not make any promises that people get disappointed by.
Yeah, and you know, like we'd really have to invest a lot of time before we can actually confirm anything to do with the PlayStation 5, really.
There isn't a class 415, Philip Robinson. Do you mean 465? There is. If so, there isn't a date for it yet.
Yellow HD said, "I'd love to see a German route which isn't a main line." Are there many, like freight routes?
Yeah, there are backwater lines. Totally, some really pretty ones as well.
Yeah.
It's something I would like to see as well. Something that hasn't had a lot of focus is some of the diesel stuff. I'm driving slowly so that this can happen, folks. Yeah, not doing anything. Right, brakes have kicked in.
Did you do that on purpose?
Yeah.
Okay.
So brakes have kicked in. We've stopped the train. Press B to acknowledge the AWS alarm, and then push this all the way to emergency, and then back out. Worked well, didn't it?
You're demonstrating it.
I'm demonstrating it beautifully. Every time I've done this, this has worked fine. It's really easy. It's really easy. All you do is... What's it doing? What are you doing? Don't you have to hold it in? Let's try that. I've never had to before.
Someone just put it in neutral.
Oh, there you go. It was hold it in for a while. There you go. I've never had to do that. But basically, this lever here, you put it into emergency. Yeah, and it'll take it back out again. So it's counterintuitive that if you want to get out of emergency, you put it into emergency.
Okay.
But yes, apparently in that case you have to hold it in for a few seconds. I wasn't aware of that.
Oopsies. But now we know.
Now the train's just broke. Oh no, it's reset, that's why. You notice that the breaker has come on, so I now need to put the brakes on and reset the breaker. So if I pull the camera back.
Sometimes it's really hard to like make mistakes live because suddenly you end up. I don't know if you feel like me, but sometimes I get flustered if I make mistakes and I know that people are watching me make mistakes. You know, like snowballs. It was a small mistake, and suddenly it's like, how could I have done that?
Oh, I think. Yeah, this controller sometimes does this. It's really weird. When I click on things, nothing works. Let's go outside and just enjoy the nice scenery.
Oh yeah, let's do that. Oh, isn't it pretty? Do what you're told.
There we go. We got it working.
Here we go.
We're going again. Right, that faultless demonstration.
Yeah, that was impeccable. Bravo.
It was fantastic. I'm congratulating myself on a job well done.
Yeah, everyone give him like good job, Matt.
But it proves you that it can be fixed, though.
Matt or Nat is. Oh, I just realised our name's fine. Is there a third-party content coming out that you're looking forward to for Train Sim 2?
I'm going to wimp out and just say all of them because there's some really good stuff coming.
Such a cheap of an answer.
I know. A Rosa's looking really nice.
I was going to say a Rosa,
Rosa's
but
looking really nice. But
part of the fun of that one is how excited Jamie is for it as well. Like, I am getting excited because he is excited. You know, like it's infectious.
he is bubbling.
I know. It's.
I mean,
lovely.
it's insane. He is bubbling.
I know,
It's really cool to see.
Yeah, it's lovely.
Right, coming into Gillian.
Oh, everybody gave you some good jobs. So nice.
See? They're not always totally mean.
Wow. I agree. The chat are usually very lovely to me. They helped me out with all sorts. You should have seen how much we were learning together last night with Delivery Editor.
That might have been sarcastic. Ouch.
No, I wasn't sarcastic. Matt might have been. John's asking, how much is the 465 going to be? I don't have an answer to that right now. I have to wait and see, I'm afraid.
I haven't got a keyboard plugged in Nitrax, unfortunately.
Passengers are reminded that smoking is prohibited at all stations and on all train services.
My niece asked, will we get a Thomas the Tank Engine route? That'd be
I'll put
so
that
cool
one in
if
the-
we could, wouldn't it?
In the unlikely category, unfortunately.
Yes. Have you guys ever accidentally revealed a release date?
Quite possibly.
That must have happened at some point, and I'm sure the community handled it really well. Nat, do I have a YouTube channel? I do not. Patrick said, "What is that station announcement saying? I can never seem to understand."
Sorry?
Patrick said, "What is the station announcement saying?" Is someone saying something?
Oh, the announcement on the platforms on the tannoy. They're saying things like "Don't leave your baggage unattended," "Smoking is not permitted," the usual sort of fairly generic stuff.
Okay, yeah.
Oh, the M3 was accidentally leaked out. Yeah. Yes, I remember that. This will be fun.
Are there any plans to expand the German signalling system? Let me try that again. My fell over that. Are there any plans to extend the German signalling system, like ETCS or SORT?
As and when we do a route where we need to do ETCS, then it'll be something we looked into. Same with anything else. We make the route we want to make, rather than say I want signals with yellow lights. Let's find routes that have got those. We look for the route we want to make, and then we make everything else to go with it.
Oh man, have you done that before, where like you've come across a route that you thought was going to be straightforward, and then you're like, oh gosh, what is this?
Yeah. So sand patch grade, typical American route, should be quite straightforward to do.
Yeah.
But it actually turns out to have 3 different signalling systems on it. It's just like, and that was our first route. It's just like, could we have picked something a bit easier, please? You know, it was in the middle of nowhere. We had 20 signals on the entire route, and it happens to be just at the bridge between 3 different systems.
Yeah, that must have been a challenge.
But those things always crop up. There's always something that crops up. There's just like, until you actually get into the reads and you can actually look you don't know what you're going to find. And what can look like a really straightforward route almost certainly is going to have something in there that means you've got to have a bit of a rethink somewhere.
Yeah. Is the AI 395 sound fixed? And if so, can you let us hear them when they pass by? It'd be hard to know when they're about to pass by.
Particularly because I can't do an 8 camera very easily at the moment. So someone was saying earlier on that they thought they were fixed. So, and certainly the team have done a lot of work on the 395 audio. So I'm hoping.
It should say on the patch notes as well if they're fixed.
I don't think it specifically calls them out. It's one of those things that they did a bunch of work across all of the 395 audio, so they've been.
That makes sense.
It's like they didn't specifically fix the wipers, but there are a bunch of areas of audio that were improved, and the wipers were fixed as a result of that.
It makes sense.
Yeah, someone mentioned the driver buzzer, and it's actually not connected on the real thing. Hence, it's not connected in the model. Wouldn't it electrify a person if they happen to come in contact? Yeah, do not step on a third rail. No joke, folks. No joke.
I just don't step on any rails.
It's a good idea to just not step on rails. Just don't go anywhere near the railway. They're really, really dangerous places.
Yep. That's what my granddad was always like. He was like, just don't touch any of the rails, and then you don't have to worry.
Yep.
Ooh, Matt and Nat, what are your favourite Train Sim World 2 routes to play? What's your favourite to play?
At the moment, this one is definitely taking. This is where I'm going, because it's kind of like I've always loved this route in TS1. So I'm over the moon to see it in TSW now, and the Javelin's always been fun, and it's got nice variety. So yeah, this one.
It's a good answer.
Yourself?
I still don't think I have a favourite. I'm like, I know I've been.
Whoa, no.
I know I've been playing for like 6 months now, and I thought I'd have a favourite by now, but I just enjoy like trying new routes all the time, because obviously I still haven't tried everything, so I'm still just enjoying getting to grips with it all. But I do quite like the freight stuff, and I didn't think I was going to. Like, I was afraid of that before Festival of Rail, And like you could see how much I was enjoying myself during that particular stream. So I do definitely like the freight stuff.
Well, the updates to the Southeastern route, David, there is a complete list on the forums.
Yep.
I think actually there's a Dovetail Live article pointing to them, isn't there? Or is it just on the forums?
It's just on the forums, and it's also on the support page. But if you go to the announcements in the forums, it should be right at the top. Yeah, that was a good moment for the profile to log out. Could have ended badly.
OTMR stands, I think, for on-train monitoring and recording, I think. And it's like the black box, essentially, that records what's going on in the train.
Joshua C said, if you have Train Sim World 2 on PC, can you get it on PlayStation 4 with all of your DLC? No. So if you can't have it cross-platform, so if you have the core game and all of your DLC on PC, you are going to have to purchase everything again to get it on PlayStation. I know. Disappointing.
Yeah, there's nothing we can do about that at the moment, as far as I'm aware.
No, well, I imagine that's probably like a Sony, Microsoft, Steam decision, because like they wouldn't work very nicely for them, would it?
Why only one item listed on patch notes for ECW? Because that was an urgent thing that needed to get put in to correct the 377 on the livery editor. But this is a Southeastern patch, not an ECW patch. There will be. I know Adam's team is working on a massive update for ECW, so keep your eye out for that. I know, I didn't spad this time. GG me.
Well done, you. Why is the guide manual for Southeastern High Speed only on Steam? Had to go through the forum to find it, not on the DTG website. Something we can look at putting on the DTG website, I'm sure.
There is a bunch of guides on live.dovetailgames.com, including the Train Sim World 2 manual. But yeah, I think Southeastern hasn't put up there yet, so it's worth checking that totally.
I've put it on a sticky note, people. That's how you know it's official.
You can't see, but she's got sticky notes all the way up on the side of her PC there. I can see them on the camera, but they're cropped out of what you can see. just genuinely, there's you know,
there's just
so much more organised than I am.
And I pull them off when I've done them as well.
Do you like a season pass? Season passes don't really work on this game, Ace Chris, because everybody wants something different. The whole point of it's like a buffet, if you like. There's you walk in and you pick up the bits that you want, really, and everybody will want different things. So whereas a season pass kind of says everybody has this, and that, you know, that's not going to be to everyone's. In fact, to most people, you know, probably won't like being told you'll have these routes. And what you want to do is go in and pick the routes you want up, so that's why the selection is there.
Ooh, Matt, what other tube line would you like to have on Train Sim World 2 if you could?
Tricky. So I like the Piccadilly line because you've got the airport, which is a bit different. You've got branch lines, which is a bit different. You've got a nice mix of underground and overground, which I like. But I also like Jubilee line because I used to live near Stratford.
Yeah.
So, you know, I used to ride the Jubilee line all the time.
Okay.
So I think I'd be quite pleased to see the Jubilee line in the game, driving the 95 stock. So, but honestly, I wouldn't complain at any. I think even a subsurface line would be good, like a district line, for example.
Yeah.
I think that'd be interesting. I would like, whatever line it is, has to have a bit of a mix of, you know, sheltered and overground running.
Yeah.
Because if it's all overground, it might as well just be a normal route.
Yeah. It's nice, I like the thought of having like a bit of both.
Waterloo and City Line, no principle. One stop and it takes about 5 minutes. I used to ride that a lot as well, actually.
Arago said, can we get different stock for the Bakerloo line? Is that possible?
So really the only other stock you can get is the 1938 stock, and that's out. Isle of Wight, scenario planner, there you go.
Lovely. Has the issue been fixed where the platform PAS boards would say London Victoria, for example, but the train itself says it's going to Rochester?
Yeah, they should now have the correct destinations on them.
Yeah.
You've not been on the Waterloo and City line yet, Mike. Well, you need to treat yourself.
Yeah. Are they long?
Waterloo and City line is the shortest tube line.
Oh,
It is literally
long.
one station. It's about 5 minutes. It just links
nice.
Waterloo and Bank. City
Would be
being
very
the
quick
old
route
name.
to
Sorry?
do. It'd be very quick to do.
It is very quick to do. Very useful, actually. If you arrive at Waterloo Station on the Jubilee line and you want to switch to the Central line, very, very nice and convenient.
Is it possible there'd be an NEC remaster like Sandpatch Grade in the near future?
There's nothing on any roadmaps, so I'll take that as a no.
Yeah.
If that changes, then we'll let you know in the usual way.
Particularly the near future. Definitely not in the near future. I'd like to see luggage on the racks and train announcements would be cool. I'd love to see luggage.
Well, we had people in one of the luggage racks earlier on.
I was about to say that. I love it when the passengers end up in places they shouldn't. I realise that's not how we intend for it to work, but it makes me laugh thinking about how did that happen.
Because the pattern for seats gets copy pasted from one coach to another coach, and then someone misses that there's a luggage rack there, and there is a seat in that place in a different coach.
It makes me giggle. It's like those
It happens,
passengers.
unfortunately.
Do you know which? I can't remember which route it was, but you know when the passengers were in the fuel tank.
I don't think they were actually in the fuel tank. It's that the fuel type was down as being passengers.
It just made me laugh.
I know.
So much because it reads as if the passengers were actually in the tank and that's what was causing it to stall. So I had this mental image of all these passengers getting stuck and then the engine going, oh, that's people.
Fueled by Soylent Green.
And then, sometimes when people are like, oh, the platforms are a bit quiet, and my head went, well, we know why. They were in the fuel tank. No. Yeah. Patch notes removed excess passengers from fuel tanks, definitely.
Indicating that there may have been sufficient passengers.
Is it not letting you sign back in this time?
No, it's totally had enough now.
Who are you? It's asking you.
That's only marginally someone. I think whoever's using my account has probably just changed the password. Oh, I keep getting logged out. This has actually gone. Oh, here we go. Hey, no.
Hey, go.
We're in. Okay. Is this a bug? No, this is just Xbox and probably to do with my dev account that probably someone has borrowed.
Yeah.
I will have a word tomorrow. Go on, sorry.
Is there no first class on these trains?
No. They got rid of the first class even on the older units. They just don't do it anymore.
I can't imagine they made much money from it.
No, I mean people don't. It's not really any different to the rest of it.
No.
And the first class seating was often abused. It might be a dev thing though, Gabor. Something to do with my dev kit. Dev kits don't run on the normal Xbox Live, they run in a thing called a sandbox. And apparently my sandbox has got miss in it. Right, Faversham 6.9 miles, and then we'll just take a quick look at a Class 66 service given the time. Ending that with dev kits, absolutely. It would be typical, though, for all of these sorts of things to happen when you're live on a stream, you know, not anywhere else. Evening, Megasim.
Yeah, Joshua Murray said, what are these towels in St. Pancras about in the update? So we did explain that at the beginning. We didn't actually hand out towels.
No.
We just made sure people don't look wet anymore.
We got rid of the wet look passengers and replaced them with dry look passengers.
Thomas Johnson, you got a train boat. Congratulations, you're one of the lucky few.
It's only like a 4% chance of getting one, I think. Are we doing a stream for the network? We are, aren't we? Is that planned yet? The 465?
Yes, I think so. I can find out. Let me check. I can't tell you when, because otherwise you'd be like tricking me into telling you when it's being released. But give me 2 seconds and I'll let you know.
Just tell me, they won't know. Just whisper it really quietly.
No. Okay, yeah, we do have one.
Good.
465.
Answer is yes.
Actually,
You asked if there was one planned.
we have a preview and a launch to look
There you
forward
go.
to. But if you think I'm gonna slip on the date, nice try. Like, I'm not gonna lie, you almost had me. That was really close. I'd have been told off by Mike if I'd have done that.
Oh dear. Have I tried the 465? Yes. Kind of have to, really.
Can you have early access? Like I said, no, you cannot.
What's that, sorry?
Someone was asking if they can have early access, and the answer is no. Oh, now everybody's speculating on what the date is going to be. You can speculate to your heart's content. We're not going to confirm anything. Can I have late access? I mean, yeah, that's up to you. If you don't want to buy it on the day
You can have
releases.
late access, yes. That can be arranged. Nearly there to Faversham.
Yeah, we are. What's the loud noise in the train? Is that the fan?
It's the AC fan. There's quite a loud fan in these. One of the most prevalent sounds, actually, that we heard. There's multiple noises you're hearing sort of mixed together at the moment. There's a fan which comes from up there somewhere. There it is, that you're hearing. That's quite loud, actually. And then there's also, you get quite a lot of wind noise on these things. The Javelin's not a particularly quiet cab, but it's not loud in the way you would normally expect because the motors are so far away. So where normally on a train you'd hear the motor sounds and you'd hear all that stuff, it's really difficult to hear the motor sounds in the Javelin cab, but you hear other things.
Hintis, that is like a proper guild trying to get us, well, to one, hypothetically not release on a date that I'm not going to confirm. I don't actually know when it is now. But it's, if you're trying to trick me into saying when it's going to be, then it's no. need to stop talking about it, or else I'm gonna like let it. We need to change the subject matter before I accidentally like say something I shouldn't.
We'll start talking about sheds in a minute.
Yes, thank you, Maud, for clarifying. Thank you. Clark says, my PC runs Train Simulator 2021 well, but Train Sim World not so good. How can I do it so it runs smoothly on low graphics?
Don't. Click the emergency brake button again.
Oopsie. It might just be on the type of computer, because is Train Simulator, it's not as demanding, is it?
Sorry, what was the question?
So someone said that they can run Train Simulator fine, but they struggle to run Train Sim World very well.
They run differently. I hear different people saying, different things on that front. Some people actually find TS1 harder to run than TSW. It just depends on where your machine is spec'd, what processor, GPU, what type they are, and various other factors. So the best thing to do probably would be to pop onto the forums and just say, hey, this is my machine spec, this is what processor is, this is what my GPU is, and then people can come back to you and say, hey, that should be fine. I've seen some people that said, oh, I get really bad performance, what can I do to upgrade my machine? And they're running quite a high spec machine, and they've just got a bad driver or something that just needs to be fixed. So I would say, pop on the forums and share your specification, and someone can help you out, I'm sure.
Yeah. And then, I see, like you just said, Arago just said, I found Train Simulator to run worse than Train Sim World 2, so I guess it does just depend on the computer.
And SSD is definitely a big bonus over a hard drive. Less so for Train Sim World. I mean, it's always a good thing. SSD is never a bad idea, but Train Sim 2021 loves an SSD.
Do I have a seatbelt on? Looks that way with your tie-dye shirt. Does it really? Does it look like I have a seatbelt on?
I don't know.
Maybe it's because of the headphone wire.
I don't know.
I don't think it does. I don't have a seatbelt on anyway.
There'll be more news about the 465 later on, folks. What route can I take to go fishing? None of them, I'm afraid, big timer.
Yeah. Matt, Natalie, are we going to get the nicer 465 traction motor noise? The one that sounds like it's going through gears?
More news when we get there.
Okay, there we go. So much speculation tonight.
They're just trying to trick us into giving them information.
I know.
It will fail.
You only almost had me once. It's not going to happen again. The next speed bubble is stuck in Imperial and can't be changed to metric at all. Any news on whether this is being looked into?
Rage Player, have you got a forum post on that one, or have you raised a ticket? If not, can you do one or the other and just explain, what you're doing, what you're seeing, what route that's on, because it may be a route specific thing, and we can take a look at it.
Screenshots as well, super helpful.
Yeah, or a video even, if you've got the ability to upload a video. Sometimes when people upload a problem or describe a problem and they put it in a video, it can be instant. You can see what's wrong with it. So if you can do that, or at least screenshots are really useful. Right, so I did an amazingly mediocre job on that run.
Silver medal?
I know, it's embarrassingly bad.
I'm gonna forgive the silver because of the amount of times the Xbox tried to log you out.
It's getting silly, isn't it? Right, what else have we got? We've got the 66 we were going to look at. I'm going to put a bit of cloud in the sky this time.
Ooh.
Right, and we'll do, so the services. So there are 3 which are westbound deliveries. So those are trains that come up from the Maidstone West line and you take them over at Strood. They're sitting in platform 3. You then run them from Strood to Who Junction. into the yard. So that's all they are. They don't take very long. Then you've got two westbound freights. What they do is they combine two of those together. They combine those three. So those three all have shunting in them as well. So when you arrive, you'll shunt some of the wagons around. 6015 and 6017 are then taking those sets combined into two longer sets and taking them out via the Gravesend. So that's what those ones are doing. Eastbound Swap is a run from Gravesend to Who, where you uncouple your wagons, pick up some different wagons, and then you drive on. And then Who Runaround, what I'm going to run right now, is probably my favourite of the ones, where you drive up from Strood to Who, run around the train to get to the other end, and then drive back the same way again, except this time you turn up towards Faversham. And we're not going to run all of this, because this is about 90 minutes, I think this takes in total. We're not going to run anywhere near all of it, but just to give you a flavour of it.
I mean, we would be here all night.
I mean, I'm fine with that, to be fair.
Yeah, you'd enjoy that, but, I need sleep.
Right, let's get going. First thing we need to do, when you take over these services, you need to make sure you power up the train. The engine's running, but the driver controls are switched off, so you need to turn them on. Put the reverser in, put it in forwards. Get the lights on. There, and you want the instrument lights as well. Turn that off. I think we're just about good to go now. So let's get the brakes off. We've got a green light.
Oh, I saw someone asking, who might have missed you explaining it earlier, but what add-ons do people need to get this in this route?
Need East Coast Way. East Coast Way adds the Class 66 and the wagons that are used. Then there's an additional set of services which are rail tours, and you need the there you go, brakes are off, and you need Northern Trans Pennine for the rail tour services. Well, if you've got Northern Trans Pennine, then for example, if you have the BR Heavy Freight Pack, it will also let you use the 40 on the rail tour. Similarly, the 31 and the 20 can be used on the rail tour as well, so there's lots of variety there. Horn, there you go. Javelin coming out of Strood Tunnel.
Transport Adventures of England said, I have to say I'm so pleased with the patch. Top job DTG, but I am glad you're happy with the patch. It's really nice to hear, isn't it, Matt?
It is always good to see that sort of feedback. I've been keenly looking out on Facebook and the forums to see what people are saying now that the patch is out. Mm-hmm. The team worked really hard on it actually to try and respond to as much as they could. Yeah, we're still on Southeastern High Speed, Cal. We just left Strood. We just left Strood here, and we're heading up to Who Junction, just up here.
Can we
As you
improve?
can see, lots going on at Who.
Can we improve the horn on the shed? I imagine that would be a job for Adam, wouldn't it?
It would. Anything is possible.
Yeah.
I see all sorts of varied feedback on things like horns, and it's always the most difficult to try and understand how to respond to some feedback, because I've seen some people saying that they don't like the horn on the Javelin. They think it's completely inappropriate. It was recorded from a Javelin, so what do I do with that?
Yeah, how do I make it more accurate than an actual recording?
Yeah.
Yeah. Avgeek said, I'm giving tons of very critical feedback, by the way. That is fine. We take on board all types of feedback, whether it be critical, whether it be positive, everything. We pay attention to the lot. And, often the critical feedback can be very useful.
Oh yes, I'd rather have the feedback, totally.
Yeah.
Layers for Augsburg, Dennis. So they're not there yet for console players. Obviously, they're there for PC players. The Southeastern High Speed brought another fairly large memory improvement to the way signals are handling. So this optimization process continues all the time, but it's not quite reached the threshold where we can turn those other layers on yet.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so I heard someone asking about sales. So we don't always have complete control over when you get a sale. We get offered slots from Steam or Xbox, PlayStation, and we generally give you the sales when we get asked if we want to participate in them. But there are sometimes requirements we have to meet, so we can't just go here, have everything on sale. We have to meet a certain criteria, so that's why sometimes it can be really disappointing if you see the PlayStation's got this amazing deal, but it could be because we weren't offered the same type of deal from Xbox. So I hope that answers that a little bit.
Fireball, is it possible for South London Network to be made, or is that too much work? Anything can be made, Fireball. Anything can be made. It's just a matter of what we think everyone wants, what variety there has been around. There's a long process for determining what we're going to make, but anything can be made. Do I get disappointed when I get critical feedback given my involvement in making the routes? No, not at all, Mike. I'd rather have the feedback than not have the feedback.
Yeah.
I see some people saying, I'm really sorry to say this, but can I give you this feedback? I say, don't apologise.
Yeah.
I'd be more sorry if you didn't tell me.
Yeah.
It's the fact that you're telling me, these are the things you think can be better, tells me you care about it. So, and I can't ask for more than that, to be honest. So, no, never apologise for giving feedback.
Is there a possibility that you'd ever make a Greek room? It's very niche.
I would say possibly unlikely, but not impossible.
Yeah. Please ask Matt why the shadows are flipped so close to the camera, as Unreal is capable of so much more.
Unreal is capable of so much more in constrained environments. Generally, you don't have these big outdoor environments, or with so many other things going on that suck the graphics processing dry. So it's so when we dial up the shadow draw distance, the frame rate tanks. It really does. It rapidly. It's like an exponential fall off. Every little bit you put it forward, you get double the amount of impact on it. It is something we want to improve, and there are some techniques in some of the newer Unreal versions which will hopefully allow us to explore distance field shadows, I think is one of them, and all sorts of different ways of doing things. So it's definitely something that's on the list of things we want to do, because it's right in your face. You can see the shadows drawing in front of you, and it's even worse when you've got a dawn or a dusk and you can see the line drawing in front of you. So I totally get where you're coming from, but the fact that Unreal can do better doesn't mean it does better in our circumstance, unfortunately.
Why is the game not on Nintendo Switch?
Just because. No one's got anything against it. It just takes time to do these things, and we've only just really starting to sort of establish ourselves on the Xbox and the PlayStation. So it's how thinly do you spread yourself?
Yeah, that makes sense.
I also think that because the Switch is closer to a mobile phone.
Yes.
Not exactly, but closer to a mobile phone. I wonder whether or not it might be a slightly different game.
Yeah. I wonder if it would struggle as well, because they're not exactly
possibly
the most powerful machines, are they?
No, you know exactly. So it's trying to work out, if you're going to do something on the Switch, what's the right thing to do for the Switch? Not just here's a square peg, shove it in a round hole, and keep banging it until it fits.
And I mean, chances are for something like a Switch, right, you'd have to perhaps modify the game so that it could be playable on the Switch, because you couldn't have the same kind of PC specs on a Switch.
Oh yeah, totally. Yeah, the graphics will be dialed back, but that's fine. The Switch. Nintendo consoles are not known for their top level graphics. They're known for their amazing gameplay.
That's true.
So it's like I said, it's about what is the right experience for each platform you put it on. So and trying to sort of best understand that really.
Mike's asked, what time did you start working this morning?
I didn't. I'm on holiday.
Are you really?
I'm on holiday. Yeah.
You're not. I thought you were working today.
Well, no, I wasn't.
Are you actually on holiday at the moment?
Yeah, I'm on holiday. Yeah.
I don't believe him.
She doesn't believe me. It's terrible. Right. Let's just put some direct brake on. Right, let's go and uncouple the wagons. That's that completed. Right, now we can release the automatic brake. Now we're on. Now we're running light. We just switched to running on the direct brake instead of running on the automatic brake. As a general rule, always use your loco brake or your direct brake if you're running a light engine, because it's faster to apply and release. Why do I look like I've got no lights? I've got 3 big ones up here.
Really? Mr. Jeremy said, that makes sense now that you said you were playing all afternoon. Fun part about working for a games company is that you don't get shouted at when you play the game.
And similarly, no one thinks you're doing any work.
Yeah.
And so I'm sitting there playing the game, and it's just like, so are you working or playing? Yes.
Yeah. Exactly.
What's the cab? I can't remember what cab that is. Someone figure out what cab it is. I can't remember.
Show them the creepy person.
Sorry?
Show them
the creepy person.
That scared me half to death earlier.
That one, the creepy person behind me. No, what is it? It comes up when I want to stop. At least the brakes were on this time.
Oh god, it's taking its time to... There you go.
Right. Good. Right, okay. Now, before we do anything with the brakes, I need to put that in the middle. And take it out. Power these down. Turn that control stand off. Make sure the brake is in release. If you change cabs after using direct brakes, make sure you always release that brake. Otherwise, you'll sit there and you change ends going, why isn't it moving? I've done this many times. Right, okay.
Someone's using Matt's account because he's on holiday. Could be.
Probably.
If he's actually on holiday. I saw someone ask why are you streaming on holiday. You just love streaming, don't you, Matt?
I do. I'm streaming again tomorrow as well. I'm with Jamie.
Yeah.
Alright. I mean, I'd only be sitting here playing, basically doing the same thing anyway. So,
yeah. That makes sense.
There we go. It's better. Instrument lights on. And headlights on. Then we can go. after we've set our path. Switch to direct brake. Oh, we'll just switch the automatic brake and release them first. No, we're not topped and tailed. It's a single-ended, which is why we're doing a run around.
Mm-hmm. It would be nice to have some camera acceleration implemented, so it'd be easier to aim with the camera.
Yes, agreed.
Wouldn't move as rough.
Kinetic movement would be something I'd want to get added at some point, so that it's you get slow movement, which becomes faster the longer you hold the control down.
Oh yeah, that would be good. I'd really like that.
Jamie will be driving tomorrow, Mike. He may not know that yet. I should probably tell him, but Jamie will be driving tomorrow.
I'll tell him in the morning.
He'll probably say, again? Ever since he got a new machine, I keep saying, Jamie, can you drive?
Let's be honest, it's Jamie, so the reaction is more likely to be, okay.
He's
He
awesome.
loves it.
I enjoy watching him drive, to be honest.
Yeah,
He does a good job.
He does a good job, and it's just like his enjoyment of it is just so infectious. I love it.
Yeah. Right, that's that. Let's make sure, because that one's not set. I think that one needs to be set next.
Has he got a rail driver? I don't think he does, but I'm sure he'd like one.
No.
Can we have the ability to move mirrors on Xbox on certain trains, i.e. Baby Bullet and the train you're currently on?
So we don't normally animate the mirrors because they don't work, and so with them sort of stuck in one place, it's less obvious that they don't actually work as mirrors. Because then they're not reflecting anything.
The next question is going to be, can we have working mirrors?
That's an age-old question that even predates BIS and level crossings. No, working mirrors are one of those things. They become a major frame hog. That's actually, unlike something like a driving game where working mirrors are really quite important, they're nowhere near as important on this. Therefore, the frame rate can be spent better elsewhere. That's not to say we won't keep looking at it in future Unreal versions and try and see if they got better ways of doing it, but so far it's not the highest priority thing. Another little tip for when you're doing shunting like this, when you're coupling up, if you want to stay in head-out view like this, find out which side the shadows are on. Because what happens is, when you're buffering up to the wagons, you just have to make the shadows get coupled to each other, not because you can't see where the body of the train is. Yeah, you'll notice that it feels like you're overlapping it and overlapping it and overlapping it, and at some point you bang into it. The shadows will always match perfectly, so you'll see as I come up on this train. Hang on, I've forgotten something quite important.
What have you forgotten?
To change this junction. It's fine. I was seeing if anyone would notice, and no one did.
Okay, well, I certainly didn't.
I blame the yardsman for not doing that for me, so I'm going to have to do it for him. Yeah. Screen space reflections aren't even the right answer, Jan, because the problem with screen space reflections is that it only reflects what's also on the screen. So like that would reflect what's behind me, so a screen space reflection can't do that unless, so when you're outside and you're looking at, the reflection in the shiny part of here, for example, then it can reflect one half of the screen onto the other, and that's what SSR is good for, which is very good for that, to be honest. But that doesn't help you at all if you want to do a mirror.
Ooh. Joshi asked, is it possible to switch power on the go at Ebbsfleet?
Yes.
It is. I mean, I
It
feel
is.
like that's probably risky.
Nope. It is something that they do. You just drop the pantograph, drop the third rail, and go. And obviously, depending on which way you're going. But yes, they actually do that.
Does the Class 66 also drive as AI? It does, doesn't it?
It does. All of these services, these 8 services, you'll see them as AI trains as well.
Are we going to do any Australian routes and logos?
Again, nothing anytime in the short term at all.
It's basically when it comes to routes and stuff, you say never, but until you actually see an announcement, or you
Anything
see
is
it
possible.
Yeah. But we're not going to promise anything in one of these streams. You'll know if we're going to do something because we'll make a big deal out of it. It'll be a big song and dance. Like, oh, look what we're doing. That's exactly how we announce things.
So if you look you can see the shadows appearing on the wagons now, and you can see where the shadow is on the back of the locomotive. And so what you're looking for is to match them together, and you'll notice they're already not lined up. So if you match the shadows, you'll get a couple up a lot smoother. If you watch if I just let them collide now, you'll notice that they collide at the point the shadows collide. Nearly done. We'll drive this forward for a little bit.
Sure.
Switch to the automatic brake. Let's put a full application on.
Matt's enjoying himself. I think he is.
I do. I'm playing trains.
Yeah.
Oh!
Oh, well, he was enjoying himself.
We're rolling. Trainbot, I don't know. I think it's something to do with my account, and I wonder if one of the other, maybe a QA tester in another country, because we've got QA testers around the world, so it may be that my account has been taken in error for some other testing. We do have a spreadsheet specifically designed to prevent this from happening. Either that, or the dev sandboxes are having some trouble tonight.
Yeah, we probably shouldn't point fingers at anyone really until they're sure.
I'm blaming everybody except me,
Ah, yes, actually.
even though it probably something to do with me.
I know, right? Once you turn it off or after the stream, I go, oh god.
Oh, that button there! I pressed the setting that says annoy the heck out of Matt. If we do this a bit quicker, you get held up waiting for a train coming up, but I've been quite slow today, so I didn't get to wait.
Yeah, Matt's fault for not reminding people he needs the account while he's on holiday. I mean,
really.
yeah.
It's only been my account for years, so...
Oh, it's like, you know, when the cat's away, they all think you're nowhere near it, so maybe someone's like, ooh, I'm going to have a play on Matt's account while he's not around. DTG should sell merch publicly. That'd be great to buy. Oh man, I'd love it if we did that.
We've done merchandise previously. We've taken to exhibitions. That's always been good fun.
I think one of the reasons we're not doing it at the moment is simply because of the virus, and I get that that's like a rubbish explanation, but I think that's the reason.
Yeah.
It's just not straightforward to do at the moment.
No, it's something we can ramp up on again in the after times, when we're
Yeah,
all allowed out of
definitely.
our bedrooms.
Exactly.
That tester spent all day filling out Xbox bug reports, yeah. I kept getting kicked out of the bill. You're wearing one of those shirts now, are you, JP? Nice.
Nice.
I'd wear my hat, but it doesn't really fit with the awesome ears. So.
Yeah, it's a shame.
Ears come first, I'm afraid.
Priorities, right? Oh man, I think you've made everybody want the hat now.
Free dev, yes, aware of that technique for it, but that costs quite a lot of frame rate doing that. They're all solutions, and we've tried them, but they have a frame rate impact. Does your pink Prius have ears? I don't have a pink Prius. I'd love to fix that, but my wife has made it very clear that would be terminal. For me, mostly. I'm not even allowed to paint my own car pink. Apparently there are some shames that the family is not prepared to bear on my behalf.
That's one of them. Salty Chips is asking, how are you live streaming on an Xbox?
I'm using a capture card. So I've got a separate PC with a AverMedia capture card, and I'm just taking the output of the Xbox straight into that PC via capture, and it's then streaming it on XSplit. Oh, we're just doing a mode change. That's it. It's powering back up.
Simmer's asking patch notes for today's update on the Xbox. So all the update notes can be found on the forums if you look in the announcements section.
No, I don't have a pink Prius, Mike. This is why I'm sad.
How come there's only so many American routes on Train Sim World 2, but a lot of UK routes? That ain't fair, bro.
No, this year's not been particularly great for US content, and that's something that we were aware of. It's not quite how it was planned to be, but we're going to try and do better next year.
Yeah. Thank you for posting the update notes. There's a link in the chat.
Why a Prius and not a Nissan Leaf? Because I want to go more than 80 miles.
Yeah, but Nissan Leaf's completely electric, isn't it?
But for only 80 miles.
What you should do is the Renault one.
I'm not ready for electric cars yet. No.
Or Tesla.
If you've got lots of money to throw around, then yeah, maybe. I don't think the world is ready for electric cars yet. At least I'm not ready for an electric car yet. I like the hybrid because it's sort of like it's a nice mix between the two. But even now, I was talking to somebody else, and even now, the Prius that I've got has equivalent gas mileage to a 1 litre compact, because the modern petrol engines have advanced so far. They're more efficient now than my 2007 Prius. So
apparently the Nissan Leaf is good for 200 miles now.
That's
cool. That's mega. I mean, they are getting better. Like the batteries are getting much more.
Battery tech
powerful.
advances all the time. Yeah.
All they need now, I'd say, is like more charging points and stuff.
Yeah, that's the key thing.
Some of them are a bit awkward.
Yeah, and not only that, it's how long it takes to charge. And I'm not entirely sure I want to be spending, because like the battery on the Prius is about 5,000 or 6,000 to replace if you ever need to replace it. So kind of don't want to be using, fast charging. If you like on your AA batteries, fast charging wears them out quicker. And at the moment they're saying you can go and fast charge your car batteries. It's like, but do I really want to? Not with, they're not double A's. They're a bit more expensive than double A's. So I kind of want to be looking after them. And normally you would slow charge a battery to look after it. So no, I think car tech is in an interesting place at the moment. That's it's kind of in an evolution. But no, we got the Prius because I believe in put your money where your mouth is. Even if it's not the best way to do it right now, it's the right way of going forward, I think. So.
And I think like electric cars and green energy and stuff like that is definitely the way forward, isn't it? Like that's what we're going to be seeing more and more of. We just it needs to be a bit better at the moment. Anyway, we're off topic. We're supposed to be talking trains, not cars.
Well, it's electrics, although this is a diesel electric, so this is technically a hybrid of sorts. Why not just stay signed out? I tried that. Oh, hello. No, here we go. And as soon as I touch the controls, it says I need to log in.
Yeah, it's just not very nice to him tonight.
It's just being annoying to me tonight. We'll just run then. It's running into Strood, and we'll stop there.
Sure.
Do I have my own? No, this is a dev kit F1XL. I have my own profile, but this is a developer box. So I have to use one of the dev profiles, and it's in a dev sandbox, and it's just a whole different world of stuff that I have to say I don't fully understand. Fortunately, Jordan understands it, so he'll probably tell me tomorrow what I did wrong.
I suspect it's a Matt error.
It's probably a Matt error. A Matt steak.
So good. So bad.
And it's Morissette car, isn't it? Ionic. I like that, Moggy. For the first time. Coming into Strood. And the rest of this service now just turns... so we've come back to where we started, which was over there on the platform 3. And then basically this service now continues on, turns left over the bridge and heads up via Rochester towards Faversham. Mike, do I have an... I'm not saying that word beginning with an A as a product by Amazon? Yes, we've got several of them. And the reason I'm not saying that word name beginning with an A is because there's one right behind me. And it just gets all sort of excitable if I start saying that word.
What happens if I say it?
Nothing, because it's in my headphones.
Oh, damn! I was hoping you had, like, speakers or something, because I was gonna, like...
No. I've been there before. People have tried that stuff. They tried to order toilet rolls and all sorts of things.
That's great.
No, we've got that thing, because we've got two of them in the living room. We've got a cube for the television, and we've got the normal Echo, and the so we've actually named them different things. So one is computer, and the other one is the A word. Now, of course, we get completely confused because we can't even think of an alternate word to describe either of them by.
I'm so going to trick you into saying that at some point. That is my goal for all future streams together. To get you to activate Alexa.
There you go. Let's finish there then. We've been going for quite a while now.
We have been. It's been like, what, 2 hours?
Must admit, yeah, it's down. It's showing up. XSplit is saying 2 hours and 3 minutes, including the 10-minute lead-in. So
Not bad.
good.
Stream.
Well, there you go, folks. That is the some of the stuff that's in the update. The full list is on the forums, and if you find anything that that you think is still not to your liking, then raise a post. We are looking. And I tried to order toilet rolls through your... that was the one, yeah, Moggy. I did try and order toilet rolls through yours, and I nearly succeeded. You had to cancel the order, if I remember rightly. It was brilliant. Yes, so thanks very much for watching, and we'll see you on next stream, which will be Jamie and I tomorrow on Workshop Wednesday in TS 2021. And
Have a
there you
good
go,
night,
it's signed me
everyone.
out just at the right
Yeah.
time. I don't care now.
Perfect timing.
See you later, everybody. Bye-bye.
Bye.